We've got the top 10 must-adds for this week in fantasy basketball coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. This is week 3 in our top 10 must-add list here. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet joined the family, and ring that bell so that way you'll be notified whenever we drop an episode. Also, if you think there's a player that deserves to be on this list, please leave a comment down in the comment section below. I've implemented a small change in this series here. I'm now going to be looking at players that are available in 40% of leagues or more. Now, this episode is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy Sports. Use the promo code BEATTHEODDS to double your first deposit up to $250. All right, let's jump right into our question and answer portion here. We had Raptors fan 3826 wanting to know if he should pick up Cole Anthony or Nas Reed for a points league. Now, Cole Anthony, his stats are 15.6 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists in 24 minutes. I was hoping, actually, for more minutes than the 23 minutes he got in the last game without Markelle Fultz. It's kind of a toss-up for me between the two. Nas Reed has got a little bit of a lower ceiling, I think, than Cole Anthony, but, you know, I just haven't seen enough from Cole Anthony to feel comfortable saying that he's definitely the one I would pick up. Next up was Kyanite 7843 asking if you should be dropping Kelly Oubre for Xavier Tillman. Well, this one's a bit of an easier one here given the week that Tillman has had in Memphis. It looks like he's falling out of favor in that rotation, getting less minutes and now on the bench. So Oubre, who has now gotten more playing time cleared with the departure of Harden, is the obvious pickup. I would not be dropping him for Tillman any day of the week. Let's jump right into the list here. At number 10, we have Josh Hart, 48% owned over the last 2 weeks. He posted 6 points per game with 7.3 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 0.8 threes, 0.8 steals, 0.2 blocks, 1 turnover on 33% shooting from the field, and 75% from the line. Now, RJ Barrett is currently nursing a knee injury, so Josh Hart's going to step into the starting lineup. I wouldn't expect a whole lot of scoring from him. He's only averaged 7 shots per game last season, but Hart will challenge for 10 rebounds each game with a steal and a 3, which makes for a solid production nonetheless. He played 36 minutes in the last game, and he should range north of 30 minutes for as long as RJB remains sidelined. All right, to number 9, we have Jaylen Suggs, 37% owned, 10.2 points per game here over the last 2 weeks, 5.4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.2 threes, 2 steals, 0.6 blocks, and 1.4 turnovers on 37% shooting from the field and 100% from the line. Poor shooting aside, Suggs is showing his ability to contribute in every category. He's already in the top 10 for steals out of the gate, and he's been soaking up some extra minutes with Fultz sidelined currently. He has yet to prove that he can shoot with precision since he's been in the league, but Suggs is kind of in a make-or-break season, given that Anthony Black is currently waiting in the wings. So chances are Suggs is going to be able to play at his full potential here, at least in the short term. Let's go to number 8. We got Deni Avdija, 51% owned, 13.2 points per game here over the last 2 weeks, 5.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.2 threes, 1.2 steals, 0.2 blocks, and 1.2 turnovers on 56% shooting from the field, 57% from the line. Deni is in a great opportunity to put up career-high numbers this season. He's an efficient shooter who fits in nicely as a third option behind Poole and Kuzma in Washington. Avdija will post points in the mid-teens, and he should play enough defense to pick up a healthy amount of steals as well. If he can only get 30 minutes per night, he would be a must-add on fantasy rosters. To number 7 we go. We got Jeremy Sohan, 50% owned. Over the last 2 weeks, he posted 9.8 points per game with 5.8 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 0.4 threes, 0.8 steals, 0.4 blocks, and 2 turnovers on 43% shooting from the field and 69% from the line. Sohan has settled in as a capable playmaker who is also a good rebounder at his size. He will be another low-scoring all-around contributor, as kind of has been the theme so far this week on this list. Sohan has been responsible with the ball. He's posted a 2.5 to 1 assist-to-turnover ratio, which is not terrible. Wembanyama is showcasing his talents, of course, which makes Sohan's assist floor quite high. Let's go to number 6. We got Mo Wagner. 25% owned in leagues over the last 2 weeks. He's got 9.4 points per game with 3.2 rebounds, 0.6 assists, 0.4 threes, 0.4 steals, 1 block, and 1.2 turnovers on 16 minutes per game, with 67% shooting from the field and 75% from the line. I would say that Wagner is the beneficiary of the Wendell Carter Jr. injury. We aren't quite sure of the timeline of his recovery. It hasn't yet been revealed, but it's kind of safe to say that the majority of the minutes will be split between Wagner and Goga Bitadze. Both might be safe to own at the moment, but I would say that Wagner's offensive ability should kind of edge him out a little higher on your fantasy radar. Let's go to number 5. We have Talen Horton Tucker, owned in 34% of leagues. Now, before I give you the stats here, I would admit I made a bit of an unpopular pick, putting Talen Horton Tucker as my number 1 on last week's list. Now, I admit he probably shouldn't have been at the top, but I stand by the fact that he's still a great pickup, and I put him at number 5 here this week. His stats here over the last 2 weeks, he's got 10.3 points with 2.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.2 threes, 1.2 steals, 0.5 blocks, and 1.8 turnovers. His assist to turnover ratio is very good, especially for an off guard. He is the starter, at least for now, and he should be in line for some fantasy useful box scores, and he's still capable of popping off at 30 points on any given night as well. To number 4, we go. We got Tim Hardaway Jr., owned in 54% of leagues. Last 2 weeks, he posted 18 points per game with 4.2 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 3.4 threes, 0.6 steals, and 1.4 turnovers per game on 44% shooting and 100% shooting from the line. Now, when Hardaway is on, he can carry your fantasy squad's 3-point totals. When he's not on, he can single-handedly tank your squad's field goal percentage. So he's currently on a nice streak, splashing threes at a high rate off the Mavs bench. Hardaway is a must-start for as long as he can keep his field goal percentage north of 40%. To number 3 we go. We have Nas Reed. He's owned in 50% of leagues, averaging 24 minutes per game. Last 2 weeks, he posted 16 points with 4.5 rebounds, 0.8 assists, 2 threes, 0.8 steals, and 0.8 turnovers on 56% shooting from the field and 100% from the line. Reed is arguably the most offensively talented big in the NBA to come off the bench. It's a little surprising to see that he hasn't yet blocked a shot this year, but I wouldn't really worry too much about that, as he typically blocks around 1 shot per night for his career. Now toss that block into his stat line, and Reed is suddenly a top 50 asset here to start the season. To number 2 we go. We have Dillon Brooks. He's owned in 47% of leagues, averaging 35 minutes here per game. His stats over the last 2 weeks is 15.8 points, 3.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 2.5 3-pointers, 1.8 steals, and 2.8 turnovers here per game on 59% shooting from the field and 88% from the line. NBA's crowned villain is showing his new team that he is fully deserving of the 35 minutes a night that he's been receiving of late. He can't be trusted to shoot at a 60% clip all year, however, but the defense is for real, and he showcased how good of a shooter he was at the FIBA World Cup in the summer. I'm currently getting as many shares as I can, and I really believe that you should too. To the number 1 pickup here for the week, we've got Herb Jones, owned in 60% of leagues, currently getting 31 minutes per game here. Over the last 2 weeks, he's posted 10.6 points per game with 4.6 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1 steal, 1 three, 1.2 steals, 2 blocks, and 1 turnover per game on 49% shooting from the field and 88% from the line. Now, I ask you, how can someone averaging over 3 stocks a game be still available in 40% of leagues? You can't win your league on scoring alone. You need a player like Herb Jones to rake in those defensive stats. Plus, and this is a big plus, he has Zion and Ingram as teammates who Jones is the immediate handcuff to. His floor is set. His ceiling will be determined by how many games Zion and Ingram will be missing this year. And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it here. Please do leave a like on the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already done so. We're going to sign off for now, and I'll catch you guys on next week's episode.